everybody. Hello. And welcome to The View. I'd like to wish a happy St. Patrick's Day today to all of our Irish friends out there.
And non-Irish.
And it is an honor of some of the first immigrants to come to this country, the Irish. They often, on this day, celebrate what they say the luck of the Irish. Of course, if you're elderly, sick, or poor, your luck has just run out. Did you think I would not talk about it? Just because, you know, what'd you say?
I said it took 10 seconds.
Yeah,
for you to go there.
Maybe less.
I can't help it. It's so horrific and so horrendous. Just when you thought it was safe to stop talking about Trump, he unleashes his budget on us. He wants to cut clean water. He wants to stop helping old people and public education so we can all be as dumb as he is.
It didn't take long. You could have shown a little arc here.
No, she went right in.
I can't. We're in an, look, I'm possessed today. We're in an emergency in this country. People need to get with the program. A lot of Trump voters need to start reading the New York Times and see what he's doing to you. Okay? His budget guru, Mick Mulvaney, I guess he's Irish, right?
Maybe.
All right. Well, he thinks that all these cuts are an act of compassion. Watch.
I think it's probably one of the most compassionate things we can do to actually
programs that help the elderly.
You're only focusing on half of the equation, right? You're focusing on recipients of the money. We're trying to focus on both the recipients of the money and the folks who give us the money in the first place. And I think it's fairly compassionate to go to them and say, look, we're not going to ask you for your hard-earned money anymore. Single mom of 2 in Detroit, okay? Give us your money. We're not going to do that anymore unless we can guarantee. Please let me finish. Please let me finish. Unless we can guarantee to you that that money is actually be used in a proper function.
Okay, so basically he's saying, why would I ask the mother in Detroit, single mother, he uses Detroit, or the coal miner in West Virginia to pay for Meals on Wheels, for example, for old people in another state? But I ask, is it compassionate for Donald to ask that single moms foot the bill for his golf weekends at Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah.
Or how compassionate is that? Or to keep the First Lady in the penthouse at Trump Tower, which is destroying traffic, to say the least.
And costing taxpayers a lot of money.
And costing. So I ask you ladies, what is the most horrific part of this, do you think? Or do you agree with it?
I think it's pretty horrific all the way throughout. I mean, if you look at it, and we have the numbers. So the Agriculture Department, he's cutting by 21%. Department of Housing and Urban Development, 13%. Education Department, 14%. And the Labor Department, 21%. But when you look behind those numbers, what you find is when you cut the Agricultural Department, you cut women, infants, and children nutritional assistance. When you cut the Department of Housing and Urban Development, what do you cut? You cut Meals on Wheels. When you cut the Education Department, you cut before and after school programs. And when you cut the Labor Department, you cut job training for seniors and disadvantaged youth. So I don't see the good in that, because our country is supposed to protect the most vulnerable. That would be the elderly, the poor, and the young.
Well,
so how can you cut?
He puts America first. That's what his idea of America first.
He's putting billionaires first.
The problem is, though, that everyone always wants to talk about cuts. No one ever wants to talk about the fact that we're broke. The country is broke. We have a $20 trillion national debt right now. Our budget deficit is $591 billion. Somebody pays for that. There's not this pot of, everybody thinks there's this pot of gold or something, pot of gold and a leprechaun that are just going to administer money.
How about the top 2% of our country?
What about raising taxes?
So I understand what he's saying. What he's saying is, why raise taxes? You can't just raise taxes to kingdom come. As Margaret Thatcher once said, eventually you run out of everybody else's money.
How about raising them on the billionaires?
So we're talking about, you can't tax your way out of that, though.
They're putting their fair share in, and I'm
one at a time.
The thing I'm noticing is the cuts in one of the notes is the State Department. He's cutting the State Department, which is all about diplomacy and outreach to avoid wars. And they quote, most recently, a 2013 quote from General Mattis, where he said, if you're going to cut funding from the state, I'm going to have to buy more bullets. So you're increasing military, but cutting state, which is not a great combination. And secondly, the after-school programs were something that really bothered me.
Before-school programs.
The around-school programs, we'll say. But they said there was no proof that this works. And at one point he said something like, there's no proof that when you feed a child that they do better in school. I don't need them to do better in school. I need them to be fed. Why would we ever leave our kids?
And they do better in school. When you look at the stats, they do.
Even if they don't, if you have houses and families and people, that there were 300 million
I can't read
families.
on an empty stomach, okay?
You get angry. I think going back to Jed's point too, though, we do have to look at the debt. It's $20 million or $20 trillion. And in order
That's
for us
your
to pay
money.
that down,
That's your money.
each taxpayer has to pay $166,000. And I think,
Okay.
wait. As tough as you look at a lot of these programs that might get cut, Meals on Wheels,
Meals on Wheels.
Meals after school
no,
programs,
that's a talking point.
I know that's a talking point, but wait a second. As tough as it is, a lot of people have voted him in office to make these tough cuts. You look around the country, you have to operate a family on a budget. A corporation has to
But those
operate
are
on a
people
budget.
who
Our
need
government
these
should operate on a
programs.
But
budget.
they're also the
need
ones
these
paying
programs.
for the programs. Meals on Wheels,
That's
by
because
the
the
way.
billionaires aren't paying their fair
No,
share.
IRS filings.
why.
They pay 50% of
They're
their
not paying
income
their
in
fair
taxes.
No, they don't.
Yes,
no,
they
don't. They
do.
use the AMT
They
to
get a
evade
ton
taxes.
of money.
No,
Why?
they
Hold
don't.
on one second.
I'll be fiscally conservative. Why do I have to pay? Why do I have to pay? For example, it might be a small amount considering to get Hans and Fritz's vacation time. They go and kill elephants. Why do I have to pay
Because
for
we
that?
unfortunately have to do that
boys,
for
the
every
sons.
president. The same way
And why
President
do I have
Obama
to
went
pay for his
golfing, and it
trips?
happens every time.
Why do I have to
unfortunately.
pay for his trips to Mar-a-Lago?
Because
Why?
that's unfortunately
Why?
the way it works when you're president. You get these perks, they all get it.
But you are
I don't
talking
think we
about.
should.
You're
Look, I think
talking
he should
about
stay put into his job.
fiscal
That's right.
responsibility.
I'm also saying, though, Meals on Wheels, just 1 second, 3.3% of its funding comes from government sources. When you say they're cutting Meals on Wheels is largely funded by private people, by corporate grants, by individual contributions.
So then what's
Talk
the
to the
problem?
people like
There
my
isn't a problem.
grandmother.
Leave it
Talk to
out.
the people
There
like
isn't
my
a problem.
grandmother that kept the Meals on Wheels kept her out of a
But
nursing
he's
home.
not gonna gut
fed
that.
her every day.
Listen to the numbers.
But all I'm saying,
No, Jed, no.
no, I support
It is not,
the
it is
program.
not
one
a
at a
talking
time.
point. It is not a talking point. When you look at Meals on Wheels that helps our seniors, helped people
I know.
like my grandmother, bottom line is talk to the people that 3.3%
No,
is going to
all
affect.
I'm saying is,
That's right, affects is
I'm agreeing
significant.
with you that the program is significant. What I'm saying is 3.3% of its funding comes
Yeah.
from the government. So even if he cuts it, you're going to have private citizens, as they often do, come in, corporations, and they're going to say, we value
Let
this
Sarah say something.
Okay,
Let Sarah speak.
I actually agree with Jed on this because I saw a Mother Jones article today that changed my mind. I was with you, Sonny, on this, on the Meals on Wheels.
You're not with me anymore?
No, I am. But what they were talking about is what they're cutting is not the program. There are these block grants that go to the states that they're saying that their states aren't spending them efficiently. So Meals on Wheels is not being cut. It's a tertiary part of blocking this one grant.
It is being cut.
Oh, wait
It
a
is being
second.
cut
Before
by
we go, what's your excuse
3.3%.
for cutting the EPA? Don't you like to drink clean water?
I
We have to go.
excuse-
We have to go.
31%.
Waste of time
We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.